All right. So today I'll be talking about one of the issues that we have to solve at work, which is writing a network policy, right, to an OPA policy, right? Uh, yeah, OPA policy to make sure that whenever a port comes into a specified namespace, it's not using the default service account. Now that led me to the part of the service account admission controller, because some people, they'll be like, we just know that the service account default kind of shows up, right? Like, oh, the service account shows up called default. You don't create it, you don't specify it, it just shows up in your namespace, right? Now the guy responsible for that is called the service account admission controller, right? It's part of your admission controller set. And what it does is that when you create a namespace, it just does what it does best. It just creates a namespace, a service account called default in that particular namespace. So when a pod comes into that namespace, it's going to set, if it doesn't have a service account specified, it's going to set it to default for that namespace, right? If it has one, right, it's going to make sure that, yeah, it's actually exists, right? Because if you try to create a pod that references a service account and that service account is not found in the namespace, it's going to tell you, oh, I cannot create this pod because the service account does not exist. So the person responsible for that workflow, that error message, is the service account admission controller. Now, after it specified that, oh, after it checks that the service account exists, it's going to need to mount the service account, right? It's going to mount the service account to right here, right here, right here. Yes, the service account is going to be mounted so that the container and the port can use it. Boom. Now, one thing I did not realize before is that if I don't specify an image pool secret, it will use the image pool secret of the service account added to the port, right? So the image pool secret specification for the default is what is going to be used uh, for uh, any port that is launched into a namespace that uses the default service account, which is kind of new to me. I did not realize that. I guess a couple of things happen in Kubernetes by automatically, so you don't really think about it, and it just kind of happens. Now, that's a discussion for another day, I guess. Now, so that's the job of the service account admission controller. It manages service account. If you come into a namespace, if you have a service account, good for you. It will try to mount, the service account into this location. Now, it only mount if this is set to true, right? Or it's missing. If it's missing, it means true. If it's set to true, that means it's going to mount to this particular location. Now, let's talk about the token controller. Hmm. We know that service account has associated secrets. So how does that secret text comes into play? The answer is the token controller. The token controller kind of like, here is a new service account. Here is the token. Oh, the service account has been deleted. The secret token is also going to be deleted. That's the basic responsibility of the service account. And you see all those things being mounted, boom. Those secrets being mounted, boom. This guy is responsible for it. So basically, it watches for the creation of a service account and creates the appropriate token. And also, when you delete that service account, it makes sure it cleans up the token, right? You can also create the secret by yourself. Remember, service account, when you create a new service account, it's going to create a token for it. Now, you can create a secret yourself. and assign it to a service account, which they are doing in this case. So what the token controller is going to do is going to watch for that and assign it to the right service account. Yeah, that's what the token controller. When I'm thinking about the list of controller, for some reason, I don't really think about the token controller as part of. Well, when in my first, thought process, excuse me, of service account or token controller or token creation in Kubernetes. So that's basically it, right? So what led me into the party is because I was really trying to understand how to write the right OPA policy for the token for my environment, and I was wondering, is it possible that you know the the service account name being created in a namespace, is it possible for the name to change, right? Is it possible for us to to change the default, right, secret controller? So that was what led me to this part, but that's a brief overview of what I've learned so far with the service account controller. Basically, it manages a service account, the creation and deletion. It works well, kind of works in tandem with the token controller to make sure the appropriate secret for that service account is created, managed. And if there's a secret that is created to be attached to the service account, the token controller takes care of that. That's it. And I'm going to be seeing you next time.